Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp as we once again have a look at some of the games coming out for the Switch in this upcoming week. In terms of dates, we'll be going from the 25th of May up until the 31st, and we'll first look at a few games that may have crept out without being in one of these videos for whatever reason, and then of course we'll move on to that week at hand. So which games are coming out for the Switch this week? Well, let's find out. Let's start with a game from the sponsor of today's video and their release on the Switch, Bombcat. This takes inspiration from the classic number game 2048, but adds a new bomb mechanic where you'll need to match the cats carefully, all the while being careful of the bomb cat that can either assist or completely disrupt your game. There are 11 cats included, each having a different weight depending on its size, and your goal is to achieve the highest score without running out of space. But when the bomb cat appears, explosions will occur, and depending on the circumstances, this could either help you as your cats jump about the box, or end your game as they run off screen completely. Bombcat usually sells for £6.29, but it currently has 71% off of this price, going up until the 2nd of June, bringing it down to just £1.79 or your regional equivalent, and these prices will be at the bottom of the screen. There'll be a link to the game in the description if you are interested, and once again a thank you to the publishing team for sponsoring this video. Starting with a game that is already out then, this is BEASTWATCH Meat and Mayhem. This calls itself a retro style horror shooter in which you play a security guard working his first night in a slaughterhouse. It goes on to say that you'd expect a quiet night on your first night in a new job, but blood soon spills and hidden horrors emerge as the animals take a sinister turn. There isn't a trailer on the eShop unfortunately, just some screenshots, but judging by those you can see it's going for that PlayStation 1 N64 first person style, in terms of its graphics I mean. You can see a bit of GoldenEye in here in terms of how polygon heavy it is, but it doesn't show a huge amount of the actual gameplay in terms of the animals you'll be fighting or the horrors that may await. Sounds like an interesting premise at least, and if you are interested, as I said, it's out now and sells for £10.79. Moving on to this week then, and the first game releasing is Capes. This comes via Daedalic Entertainment, and I remember they actually flew us out to their headquarters in Germany, last year it would have been, to look at some of the games they had planned for the Switch, and this was one of them. It's a turn-based strategy game, set in a universe where supervillains have won and superheroes are no more, and you must put a team together of superheroes to try and take back the world. It says you can play across a series of campaign and patrol missions, choosing either to push the story forward or take time to explore for side missions, and you can recruit heroes with a range of unique powers and abilities. The combat is turn-based as I mentioned, it was set on a grid I seem to remember, and you'll have up to 4 players in your team at any one time for each mission. I do seem to remember this looking pretty good, judging by the amount we were shown at the time. Hopefully we'll have a review of this one out, if not next week it may already be out depending on when the embargo falls. If it is out, I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner now. This one is going to sell for £33 or your regional equivalent, but there is 10% available off of that price up until launch day, which is the 29th. The next game releasing is Echoes, which is a murder mystery set in the American Northwest. It says you'll be uncovering the secrets of the apparently sleepy little town of Greenhearth, where the deeper you dig, the more you risk awakening eldritch horrors, so it obviously has that Lovecraftian theme to it. It features black and white hand-painted illustrations, with a style that evolves to suit each of the episodes featured in the game, a mind-bending narrative according to the blurb, with 4 different endings that take you from film noir to 80s horror. You'll find clues using point-and-click gameplay and meet a cast of quirky and lively characters, and it definitely sounds interesting. I like the shift in tone in terms of both the aesthetic and the story by the sounds of it. I'm assuming with that eldritch theme running through the whole thing. It's going to cost just £8.99, so it could be a bit of a bargain, and it releases on the 29th. Then we have Ninja Kamui Shinobi Origins. So this is an action game that's based in the world of the anime Ninja Kamui, if I'm saying that right, apologies if not, it's not one I'm familiar with I must say. And it says you'll be delving into and experiencing the mysterious beginning untold in the original anime. It goes on to say that you'll need to master the art of timed attacks for devastating combos, utilise homing kunai to stun locked on enemies, and you'll be exploring 3D mode by attacking enemies and collecting various items from a first person perspective. The storytelling is done via comic strips, and there is a score attack mode as well as the main mode, which will see you competing against others around the world. As I said, not a source material I'm familiar with at all, so if you do know any more about it, please do feel free to put it in the comment section. This one's out on the 30th, and it will cost £14.99 or your regional equivalent. Also this week then we have Zanyong's Sword 7, another series I'm not massively familiar on, but I am relatively sure this one's been going for quite a while, going all the way back to the early 90s I believe, and this 7th edition is an action RPG with frenetic real-time combat and, according to the blurb, a rich cinematic narrative. It has a story that is deeply rooted in ancient Chinese history and mythology, reimagining both as one fantastical and chaotic realm under the governance of the new Xin dynasty. You'll be slashing, blocking, dodging and riposting in combo-based real-time combat and have control of the Elysium Scroll to slow down time. You can upgrade your armour and weapons and develop passive skills to help you along the way. And this one is another one that's out on the 30th if you are interested, £34.99, but again it does have 10% off of that price up until just before launch. Next we have Umbraclaw. This tells the story of a cat who dies and awakens in the Soul Plane, a realm of the dead. It's a 2D action adventure where you must take on this perilous underworld to return home to your owner. It says any damage you take in the Soul Plane will kill you instantly, however the mysterious Anima Revive power will bring you back to life with new skills by absorbing the soul of another animal, thus increasing your survival capability. I'm assuming that means there is some sort of roguelite element to it, at least in terms of perhaps coming stronger each time you die or having some sort of passive progression, and it comes via the team at Inti Creates. It will cost £17.98, releases on the 30th, but it does have 20% off of that price up until, again, just before launch. There is a demo on this one though if you want to give it a try before you buy.
Have 9.
We also have Burst Hero this week, which is a deck building roguelike shooter. It promises fast paced gameplay which is easy to learn, with each battle lasting about 10 minutes, and there are 19 heroes, 41 weapons, 31 types of bullets, 76 cards, 17 talents, 5 challenging maps and 20 difficulty mechanisms rolled into one, hopefully cohesive game. It says that there is a strategic card system where you build your deck and create different gameplay styles, and each level has different enemies and different mechanisms for you to learn. I must say that I wouldn't have expected any sort of deck building element in this game if I'd just watched the first few seconds of the trailer and nothing more, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how that affects that shooting gameplay. Again, it's out on the 30th and it will sell for £9.89. The penultimate game for the week is 9 Nights Marshall Chi Lang's story. It says here that you are on the run in the crisis-ridden world of 9 Nights, constantly acquiring new combat skills as you fight fiercely against a barrage of increasingly vicious and bizarre enemies. It's not the most cohesive of blurbs to read, I must be honest, so it's a bit difficult to work out exactly what it's trying to say at times. It does though mention that you'll be using rewards to earn upgrades to your combat moves, enhancing your skills as you go along, and you can also buy new weapons to help you as you go. It looks like a third-person action game, similar in style I would say to something like the more recent Ninja Gaiden games, but selling for just £9.99, so obviously a budget title. It releases on the 31st if you are interested. And finally for the week then we have Mezmeratu. This calls itself a roguelike platformer, and it's actually a platform spin-off from the Baobab's Mausoleum saga, which was created by Jacob Jazz. and were early releases on the Switch. Decent games, very surreal, very strange, but good games. This seems to have a very similar vibe to that game in terms of that surrealistic nature. And whilst there is no trailer unfortunately on the eShop, the screenshots seem to show a mix of both 2D and 3D character models, so it'd be interesting to see exactly how that ties together, whether the 3D models are just for cutscenes or if you play in both styles. If they're previous games or anything to go by, this should be pretty good, and it does sell for quite a cheap price. Hopefully I've found a trailer to show you on screen now, so you're not just looking at static images. But either way, it will release on the 31st and it will sell for £8 or your regional equivalent. So there you have it, another week of Nintendo Switch releases. Do any of these games interest you? Will you be picking any of them up? No major hitters, it must be said, but certainly some intriguing looking games at least. Don't forget, if you are looking for eShop credit to pick any of them up, you can use our website switchup.gg to get your eShop cards, and you get yourself 5% of your purchase price back in cashback if you do. There's also links down there to a few other shops, some affiliate links, which does help the channel out, and there are some codes down there to give you a bit of a discount, so please do have a look. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.